Stop right there. Before you scroll, answer this and be honest. Do you think being good keeps you safe? That kindness protects you? That generosity earns loyalty? That honesty guarantees respect? If you believe any of that, you've already stepped into the oldest trap in history. Here's what nobody wants to admit. Being good doesn't protect you. It exposes you. Your kindness isn't building bridges. It's painting targets on your back. While you're busy being virtuous, someone else is studying your patterns, learning your weaknesses, and positioning themselves to use your goodness against you. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this 500 years ago. He watched the kindest rulers get overthrown. He saw the most generous leaders stabbed by the very people they fed. He witnessed honest men destroyed while cunning men thrived. And he wrote down what he saw, the brutal mathematics of goodness, the price tag attached to every virtue. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on something most people refuse to see. Why your goodness is costing you more than you realize. Why the very qualities you're proud of are the same qualities keeping you powerless. And most importantly, how to weaponize your virtue instead of becoming a casualty of it. I'm not here to tell you to become a villain. That's the lazy interpretation. What I'm revealing is how to be good with your eyes open, how to practice virtue without becoming a victim. Because here's the reality. In a game where everyone else is playing chess, being nice is like showing up with checkers and wondering why you always lose. Now drop this in the comments. I see the cost. I choose strategy. Everything changes from this moment forward. You're not abandoning goodness. You're learning to deploy it like a weapon instead of wearing it like a blindfold. Let's start with the first brutal truth. Number 1. Goodness broadcasts weakness. Every time you're kind, you're sending signals, and not the signals you think. You believe you're demonstrating character, building trust, showing people who you are. But here's what they're actually seeing. A person who can be manipulated, a resource they can drain, someone too soft to retaliate. I watched this play out last month. A guy I know, brilliant mind, incredible work ethic, spent 3 years mentoring a junior colleague. Gave him every connection, every opportunity, taught him everything he knew. Guess who got the promotion they were both competing for? The person he mentored. Know why? Because the junior guy leveraged everything he learned, positioned himself as the innovator, and made his mentor look like the old guard. Your kindness creates a psychological profile. People study it. They learn your boundaries, or more accurately, they learn you don't have any. They discover you'll say yes when you should say no. They realize you'll forgive when you should forget them entirely. They understand you'll sacrifice your interests to preserve the relationship. And once they know this, you're finished. Think about the nicest person in your office. I guarantee you they're the one everyone dumps work on. The one who stays late because someone else didn't finish. The one who volunteers for thankless tasks because no one else will. Are they respected for it? No. They're relied upon. There's a difference. Respect comes with boundaries. Reliance comes from lacking them. When you show teeth occasionally, people think twice. When you never show teeth, people assume you don't have any. Your perpetual kindness trains the world to see you as harmless. And harmless people don't command rooms. They serve them. Machiavelli said it plainly. The lion cannot defend himself from traps, and the fox cannot protect himself from wolves. You need both natures, the cunning to see the trap and the strength to deter the wolves. But most good people choose to be lambs. Then they wonder why the predators keep circling. Now comment this: my kindness has limits. Number 2, the gratitude cliff. Here's a pattern you've lived through but never named. The first time you help someone, they're grateful. Genuinely. They thank you, they appreciate it, they remember it. Help them a second time, still thankful. Third time, less enthusiasm, but still positive. By the 10th time, something dark happens. Your extraordinary becomes their ordinary. The exceptional help you provide turns into the baseline they expect, and the moment you can't deliver, you're not just unable to help, you're failing them. I learned this from my own stupidity. Years ago, I had a friend who needed rides constantly. Car trouble, he said. Temporary situation. So I drove him to work, to appointments, to social events. For months. I thought I was being a good friend. Know what happened when I finally said I couldn't pick him up one night because I had my own plans? He got angry, called me selfish, said I was abandoning him when he needed me. The help I'd given 50 times became invisible. The one time I said no became everything. This is human psychology. We're wired to adapt to our circumstances. When good things happen repeatedly, they stop feeling good. They feel normal. Scientists call it hedonic adaptation. Your kindness gets absorbed into people's baseline expectations. It loses its power to inspire gratitude. But your refusal, that stays sharp. That cuts through. You see this everywhere. The parent who always says yes becomes the parent whose no triggers tantrums. The employee who always stays late becomes the employee whose on-time departure feels like laziness. The friend who always pays becomes the friend whose suggestion to split the bill feels cheap. Your repeated generosity doesn't build loyalty. It builds dependency. And dependent people don't love you for what you give them. They resent you for what you might withhold. Think about the people who've helped you most in life, not the ones who helped you constantly, the ones who helped you at crucial moments. The scarcity made it valuable. The selectivity made it meaningful. The fact that they said no sometimes made their yes unforgettable. Here's what this means for your strategy. You need to create gaps. Let people solve their own problems sometimes. Let them experience what life feels like without your constant intervention. Not because you're being cruel, but because you're teaching them the true value of your help. When they've struggled without you, they remember what having you means. Machiavelli understood this completely. Benefits should be granted little by little, so that they may be better enjoyed. The wisdom in that sentence is staggering. Space out your goodness. Make people earn it. Create scarcity around your generosity so it maintains value. Drop this affirmation: I give strategically, not automatically. Number 3, the virtue mask. Society runs on appearances. Nobody has time to investigate everyone's true character, so we make snap judgments based on what we see. This creates a strange reality. Looking good matters more than being good. Most people resist this idea. They want to believe that inner virtue eventually reveals itself, that good people naturally get recognized, that character speaks for itself. It doesn't. Character is invisible. Only behavior is visible, and behavior can be performed. The most successful people I know aren't necessarily the most virtuous. They're the ones who understand impression management. They know when to display compassion and when to display strength. They smile in public and make ruthless decisions in private. They appear generous while being highly selective about what they actually give. This isn't hypocrisy. This is sophistication. A surgeon cutting into your body looks cruel if you don't understand they're saving your life. The action appears harmful. The intention is healing. Real leadership works the same way. Sometimes protecting your team means making decisions that look selfish to outsiders. Sometimes helping someone requires saying no to them. Sometimes being truly good means accepting that you'll look bad. I watched a CEO fire someone who'd been with the company for 12 years. Brutal, right? Cold-hearted corporate villain. Except here's what most people didn't know. That employee was actively sabotaging projects, spreading toxicity, and driving away top talent. The CEO spent 6 months trying to fix the situation through coaching and support. Nothing worked. Keeping that person would have destroyed the team. Firing them saved it. But the CEO looked like the bad guy, because nobody sees the private efforts, the attempted corrections, the behind-the-scenes reality. They only see the visible action. This is where good people lose power. They're so committed to being authentically good in every moment that they sacrifice strategic effectiveness. They show vulnerability to enemies who exploit it. They show strength to friends who don't need the reminder. They telegraph their moves because hiding strategy feels dishonest. Machiavelli's insight cuts to the bone. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Control the appearance. Guard the reality. Show the world what serves your purpose, not your ego. Write this down. I master perception without losing truth. Number 4. Energy economics. Everything you do costs something. Every yes depletes you. Every favor extracts resources you can't recover. Every moment spent solving someone else's problem is a moment not spent building your own solutions. Good people don't think this way. They operate from abundance mentality without actually having abundance. They believe there's always more energy to give, more time to spare, more resources to share. Then they hit the wall. Burnout, resentment, the bitter realization that they've been financing other people's growth with their own decline. I burned out hard in my 20s, said yes to everyone, helped anyone who asked, thought I was building karma or social credit or whatever delusion justified it. My own projects stalled, my health deteriorated, my relationships suffered because I had nothing left to give the people who actually mattered. And here's the sick irony. The people I exhausted myself helping didn't stick around. The moment I stopped being useful, they evaporated. I was valued for my utility, not for myself. You know the airplane safety speech, put your own oxygen mask on before helping others. It's not selfish, it's mathematical. If you pass out trying to help someone else first, now 2 people need rescue instead of 1. The same logic applies to every aspect of life. You cannot lead from empty. You cannot give from depleted. You cannot help from broken. Smart people guard their energy like it's the most valuable currency they possess, because it is. They understand that sustainable generosity requires ruthless selectivity. You help strategically, not universally. You invest in people who demonstrate return, not in everyone who demonstrates need. This sounds harsh. It's actually kindness, because when you protect your resources, you can give powerfully to the right people instead of giving weakly to everyone. The concentrated impact of strategic help beats the scattered ineffectiveness of universal assistance every single time. The most impactful helpers in history weren't the ones who helped everybody a little bit. They were the ones who helped specific people massively. Focused impact beats scattered generosity every single time. Machiavelli's principle echoes through centuries. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command. You cannot command others if you cannot command your own time and energy. Self-leadership precedes external leadership. Comment this truth: my energy is finite. My strategy is infinite. Number 5. Weaponized virtue. I'm not asking you to abandon goodness. I'm teaching you to aim it. Your kindness should function like a precision instrument, not like a fire hose spraying everywhere hoping to help someone. Every virtue you possess, honesty, generosity, loyalty, compassion, these are tools. The question isn't whether to use them. The question is when, where, how, and for whom. Random kindness creates random results. Strategic kindness creates intentional impact. Before you help anyone, run this diagnostic. Does this align with my values? Can I afford this energetically? Will this create the outcome I actually want? If you're getting no on any of those questions, you're not being good, you're being foolish. Here's what strategic virtue looks like in practice. Instead of helping everyone superficially, you help key people deeply. Instead of being nice to everyone, you're exceptionally valuable to people who matter. Instead of saying yes to everything, you say yes powerfully to aligned opportunities. 3 things happen when you operate this way. Your help becomes scarce, therefore valuable. Your impact becomes focused, therefore meaningful. Your boundaries become clear, therefore respected. Think about the leaders who actually changed the world. They weren't universally kind. They were selectively fierce. Martin Luther King Jr. showed immense compassion to the oppressed and zero tolerance for oppression. Mother Teresa focused entirely on the poorest of the poor, not on everyone everywhere. They weaponized their virtue towards specific targets. You need the same approach. Identify what matters. Deploy your goodness there with overwhelming force. Everywhere else, maintain professional courtesy, but not personal investment. When you do say yes, commit fully. Create real value. Make lasting impact. When you say no, do it clearly and without guilt. You're not being mean. You're being focused. Machiavelli understood resource allocation. The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. Sometimes keeping one commitment requires breaking another. Sometimes being good to your family requires being firm with colleagues. Sometimes protecting your mission requires disappointing people. Strategic virtue isn't selfishness, it's effectiveness. Type this declaration: I deploy virtue with precision. Number 6. Memory decay. Gratitude has a half-life. The favors you do today will be half remembered next month and completely forgotten next year. This isn't because people are evil. It's because human memory prioritizes recent information and emotional events over historical kindness. You helped your neighbor move 3 years ago, spent an entire Saturday hauling furniture. They were incredibly grateful. Do they remember it now? Maybe vaguely, but if you can't help them tomorrow, they'll remember that refusal vividly. This creates a perverse incentive structure. The more consistently kind you are, the less each individual act matters. Your kindness becomes environmental, like air, essential but unnoticed, until it's gone. I had a colleague who covered for people constantly, took on their work when they were struggling, stayed late to meet their deadlines. For years, everyone benefited from his reliability. Then he got sick, needed 2 weeks off. Suddenly, he was the unreliable one. His years of extra effort vanished. His 2 weeks of absence became his defining characteristic. People remember the exception, not the pattern. They remember the no, not the 50 yeses that preceded it. They remember what you can't do more clearly than what you've already done. This isn't moral failure, it's psychological reality. Our brains are wired to notice change, not consistency. The consistent helper becomes invisible. The occasional refusal becomes scandalous. Understanding this truth changes your strategy completely. You stop trying to build goodwill through constant giving. Instead, you create memorable impact through selective, powerful interventions. You make your help an event, not an expectation. The person who helps rarely but decisively gets remembered. The person who helps constantly gets taken for granted. Scarcity creates value. Abundance destroys it. Let people experience your absence sometimes. Let them solve problems without you. Let them feel what it's like when you're not there to cushion every fall. This isn't cruelty. It's teaching them to value you accurately. Machiavelli observed human nature without sentiment. Men judge more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel. What they see now matters more than what you did before. Your current boundary speaks louder than your historical generosity. Affirm this reality. I create impact, not dependency. Number 7, outcomes over optics. The world doesn't reward good intentions. It rewards good results. Your pure heart means nothing if your actions create chaos. Your noble motives don't matter if your methods produce failure. History remembers what people built, not how nice they were while building it. Nobody celebrates the kind-hearted failure. They celebrate the effective leader, even when that leader made hard decisions. Ask yourself honestly, would you rather be remembered as someone pleasant who accomplished little, or someone demanding who changed everything? Most people choose the first option because it feels safer. But safety is just another word for irrelevance. Sometimes real goodness looks harsh. A parent who disciplines a child isn't being cruel. They're preventing larger problems. A teacher who maintains high standards isn't being mean. They're preparing students for reality. A boss who removes toxic employees isn't being cold. They're protecting the team. People don't live inside your heart. They live with the consequences of your actions. Make sure those consequences justify your methods. Comment your commitment. Results define me, not intentions. Number 8, survival enables legacy. You can't change the world if you don't survive long enough to try. And survival requires more than virtue. It requires strategy, strength, and selective ruthlessness. The kindest people in the world accomplish nothing if they get destroyed by the cruel. The most generous hearts create no value if they empty themselves completely. The most honest voices change nothing if they get silenced. You have to survive first. Then you can build the legacy you want. Think about who history actually remembers. Not the nicest people. You probably can't name 5 genuinely nice historical figures, but you can name 5 who created massive change, even if they weren't always pleasant to work with. Steve Jobs was notoriously difficult, demanding, perfectionist, sometimes cruel, but he built products that transformed how billions of people live. His impact dwarfs his likability. I'm not saying be an asshole. I'm saying that being remembered for impact beats being forgotten for agreeableness. Machiavelli's core insight resonates across centuries. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Not an endorsement of tyranny. A recognition that respect outlasts affection. That impact matters more than popularity. That results trump feelings. You don't have to choose between good and strong. Be both. But if forced to choose, choose strength, because strength lets you protect goodness. Weakness just makes you vulnerable. Declare this truth. I survive to serve. I strengthen to give. We've covered dangerous ground today, territory most people refuse to enter, but you're still here. That means something. You now understand what kindness actually costs, how generosity creates traps, why gratitude fades, how good intentions without good results equal nothing, how survival precedes legacy. More importantly, you know the path forward. Strategic goodness instead of blind virtue, selective generosity instead of universal depletion, outcome focus instead of appearance management, strength that enables kindness instead of weakness that invites exploitation. The question facing you right now is simple but severe. Will you keep being good the old way, where goodness makes you a target? Or will you adopt the new way, where goodness becomes a weapon? One path leads to being used, the other leads to being useful. One creates victimhood, the other creates impact. One makes you forgettable, the other makes you formidable. The choice is entirely yours. But understand this clearly. Now that you know the cost, ignorance is no longer an excuse. Continuing to be blindly good isn't virtue, it's voluntary weakness. If this perspective cracked something open in you, hit that like button. If you want more truth that challenges comfortable lies, subscribe and turn on notifications. If someone you know needs this wake-up call, share it with them. Your goodness isn't your weakness. When weaponized strategically, it becomes your greatest strength. Final affirmation, drop it below. I master goodness. I reject victimhood. Remember this, in a world full of wolves, don't be a sheep. Don't even be a sheepdog. Be a shepherd who carries a staff for guidance and a rod for protection. Someone who leads through wisdom, not through weakness. Someone who protects the flock through strategy, not through sacrifice. Your virtue matters, but only when combined with intelligence, only when deployed with purpose, only when protected by strength. Now you know. The question is what you'll do with this knowledge. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.